Rachel McAdam. She is the director of paid media at Axle 8, which is a local digital marketing agency. And paid media is basically any sort of paid advertising on a digital platform. So like social media, Facebook, Instagram, Google search, and there's so much more. LinkedIn. She does it all, and she's doing it for a long time. So she's going to be sharing her expertise on that. We also have Jocelyn Kramer and Logan Keurig from Desert Rose Studio. That is also another local design, photography, branding. They do literally everything, boutique, and they're absolutely fantastic as well. And they can provide us with a lot of guidance in those areas of marketing as well. And then we also have Mitchell Sove and Peyton Grahovic from Axle 8 as well, but they are social media gurus. They do, they manage social media basically for a living at this digital marketing agency. So they're here to answer those questions as well. So just so you guys know, this is all being recorded, so you can look back at this afterwards. I'll send it after the class is over. And then sort of just the structure of this is I'm just gonna call out one of our presenters and hit them with a question, and they're gonna answer. And then if you guys have specific questions related to what we're talking to, like feel free to unmute yourself or like drop it in the chat, and then we will you know, hit them with those questions as well. And then I would say in about 30-ish minutes, we're gonna completely open the floor up. So if you guys have any questions yourselves, this is your time to ask them. And please, like anything that you may have that's related to anything that's marketing related, bring that out. I mean, we're really just trying to, you know, provide as much value as possible. And we have literally marketing experts at our fingertips right now. So please like ask as many questions as you want and shoot away. And then like I said, I have a bunch of questions I put together. So if you guys don't have any like burning questions, like I have a bunch that we can go off of. So yeah, like I said, let's make this super casual. Let's make it like an actual mastermind where we're all just like sharing ideas and sharing tips and best practices. So let's freaking do this. All right, so I'm going to start with Joss and Logan. First question for you guys, and it's related to creating like your own personal brand. So for you realtors out there, it's so important to create some sort of brand for yourself and build your presence with that brand digitally and even traditionally. So Joss and Logan, if I, as a realtor, want to create my own personal real estate brand, where should I start and what kinds of things should I be looking into creating?
So with a personal brand that does not have like a doing business as, or you're not like a business selling a product, you don't absolutely need a logo. You don't absolutely need a logo, especially if your primary, you know, strategy platforms are social media. People like to see your face as the bio picture, not necessarily a logo. So I would say you definitely need 2 to 3 colors that speak to your brand, as well as a primary and a secondary font that says something about who you are and it speaks directly to your audience. And then the key is to just be extremely consistent with those things that you do pull together and always use them. Some days you might be like, oh, today's a yellow day, let me throw in. No, always stick to the colors that you choose. Be very consistent. And then did you have something about fonts?
Oh yeah, so let's say you're a more like modern luxury realtor. You're probably gonna want to stick to like a more modern looking font, which would be a sans serif.
Yeah.
And then like if you're more into like rural properties or like the farmhouse look, I would stick to like
more
similar to like a typewriter font or something like that, but they have like the little notches on like they like cap the letters like that.
Those are called serif fonts when they have like serifs at the end. So do a little bit of research.
Little tidbit about fonts.
Yes, look deep into how these visuals can translate and be speaking to your audience. I would also say that on top of colors, fonts, investing in a lifestyle photography session, not just to get headshots, but to get images of you in different settings, like an office setting, a residential setting, outdoor setting. And then again, yeah, just being really consistent with your personal brand. But in terms of things that you need to create. Don't get too intimidated thinking you need to design yourself a bunch of things. Just have a look that you always draw from every time you post or put content out.
Yes, I love that so much. So guys, just think about like what kind of image of yourself do you want to put out there? What represents you, and how can you communicate that through the fonts that you use, the colors that you use, the photography that you're putting out there, just sort of wrap that up. So definitely something to think about from a branding perspective. Thanks, guys. We're gonna bounce around a little bit. So next, I'm gonna hit Mitchell and Peyton with a social media question. So I know social media is literally, in my opinion, like the way to market yourself right now. Everybody's on social media, so everybody's already there waiting for you to tell them something or sell them something. So this outlet is so big to be, or I guess so important to be investing your time in marketing. So Mitchell and Peyton, whoever wants to take this, or if you want to each put a little tidbit in, what should realtors be posting on their Facebook and Instagram stories right now? And about how often do you think that they should be posting 2 stories? This is not the feed, this is just stories in general.
Got it. Okay. I can start off. I was trying to see if Mitchell was opening his mouth. Okay. So first off, I feel like it's no secret. Everything is virtual. There's a lot less face-to-face right now. I know Arizona is a little bit more free than most other states, actually all other states, but still, I feel like social media is the hotspot specifically in real estate. Like people are trying to find their realtor through Instagram, through LinkedIn, through Facebook. I'm thinking about like my family. My family is moving from California and they're like, okay, can you send us the Instagram accounts for realtors? And I'm like, sure. Whereas it used to be send over their website or send over their contact information, but they're just trying to get a peek at their life, at their style, who this person is. So what to post on your social media is very important because that's going to be someone's first immediate reaction or like take of you. So what you want to be doing is, yes, listings, new listings, videos and pictures of them on both your story and your feed. So don't just limit yourself to your feed, just a picture of a house, like really take advantage of videos, really take advantage of your stories. Second, neighborhood and area information. So maybe you specialize in a certain neighborhood or location, West Valley, whatever, East Valley. Talk about the perks of that, really pump it up, hype it up, talk about all the things in that area. Next is real estate tips. This could set you apart. So it's not just, come work with me, I'll help you buy a house. It's like, okay, tips for new buyers, tips for sellers, people for this, whatever it is. So maybe people just want to follow you for those tips. That could be a potential client in the future, or they could refer you to someone in the future. Next would be local businesses or events in the community that goes along with the neighborhood and the area that you're working in or that you specialize in. And then any helpful news and information for home buyers or people that are looking to sell. That's valuable information to keep, you keep tabs on and you share that, and maybe they hear it from you and they're like, oh, I trust this person to always give me the new up-to-date information going on. So those are definitely all really, really important to add to your social media.
Yeah, I'll tag on a couple of little things to the end of what Peyton said. So there's also what we call evergreen content, which is like posts that are never dated. So like sharing tips about the area or like move-in tips, like things that will always be relevant to homeowners and home buyers. Like design inspiration, checklists on getting organized, ways to prepare for the winter or save money on bills, like anything and everything for homeowners is fair game and is valuable to share. And the more evergreen the content is, the more shareable it'll be.
Yes, I completely agree. And just to add to that, you guys, thank you. Don't forget to like be personal too, like share stuff about your life, like show people that like you're human, you're not just a real estate agent. So you want to do like a mix between both, right? So like of course have your career stuff, have your professional real estate stuff, but like also let them into your life. And like Jocelyn and Logan were saying, like get some lifestyle shots done, and talk about the things you like to do, because that's how you're going to relate with people. And like 9 times out of 10, like people are going to want to do business with people that they have, similar lifestyles to you, or like they, you know, if you like love to hike, talk about hiking, and maybe that's the way someone comes into your, you know, profile. They're like, oh, they hike too, that's cool. And then they're, you know, you capture them, they follow you, and then it's like, oh, they hike, these are cool hiking spots, but oh yeah, they also do real estate. So like also have a good mix of like the personal stuff as well. We had a question come in. Ron asked, how often should they be posting?
Yeah, I saw that question come through as well. I was just about to add that on. We recommend at least posting like once a day, Monday through Friday, if you have the time and availability to do so. On stories, we recommend every day. Like get on your stories. That's one of the best ways to drive engagement.
And it varies on the platform too. So if it's like Facebook and LinkedIn, go off about like, you can do 4, 5, 6 times a week. Instagram, you don't have to go so crazy on the feed. Maybe it's 3, maybe it's 4, maybe it's 5. I always say 3 to 5 on Instagram. But stories, like Mitchell said, just every day on your stories. It could be of the new house you're selling. It could be you with your family. It could be, oh my gosh, this is what I found today, and how cool is this? And just like kind of building that like trust factor. When you show your face, people are going to start to trust you more and kind of hear your voice and everything. So it builds like a little relationship.
Yes, totally. And I've actually talked to agents that post multiple times per day, and they've been directed to by another like social media expert or something. In my opinion, guys, that is overboard. Like more than once per day is like, it's a little much. And so you don't want to like bombard your people with stuff all the time. So you have to find like a good balance, and you totally will. But I totally agree. If you could do like once per day, Monday through Friday, that's what I do. That's what Jason does here as well. And it's been working well for the both of us. So thank you guys. Appreciate that. Rach, coming at you, girl. So if any of these realtors on the call wanted to run a paid social media ad on Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, what kind of ad content ideas do you think would be good for getting buyer leads?
Yeah, I think a lot of the content that Mitchell and Peyton talked about can work for ads as well. But I would say to focus more on like the evergreen side that Mitchell touched on, focus on education and like offering your time and what your services include, and a little less on things that might be going away, like listings. I think it's important to promote listings, but with this market, things move so fast that you don't want to put an ad around one listing and then it gets sold really fast and you have to take it down. That doesn't give the campaign enough time to actually optimize. So instead, focusing more on evergreen things. Maybe your call to action is check out my Instagram to see recent listings, and that's like a good way to promote listings without tying yourself to a specific one. But I would say focusing on education and your time is probably going to drive a lot better quality leads instead of just like looky-loos and shoppers, because when you're looking, I can kind of speak from the buyer perspective. When you're looking for an agent, you want someone who you fit in with, who you feel like you can get in contact with easily. You don't want that facade of an ad in front of that. So the more personal you can make it and the more trust you can build with that potential buyer, the better.
Yes, I love it. So guys, even just to go off of this a little bit, so I help some realtors run Facebook ads, and I've done a few now, and I will tell you, I've done both listing ads and more educational stuff, and we've done some like focusing on like down payment assistance and how like helpful that can be to like first time home buyers and honestly anybody else. I've also done one where, we targeted move up buyers or like empty nesters and really went after that like emotional connection that people have, when, their daughter goes to college or, their daughter had like grandkids and they need like an extra room for the kids. So even think about stuff like that too, even going after the more emotional side of things when you're going after a specific audience when it comes to ads. Thank you, Rachel. Appreciate that. So this is going to be for all of you guys. And I'll start with Jocelyn and Logan. How can realtors stay top of mind with clients that they've already helped? So basically to try and get like repeat business with them or referral business.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, of course, there's like always be there if they have questions after the fact, after they've moved and settled in. Remember their 1-year anniversary, like reach out, give them a congratulations. Like there's those little things you can do. Keeping up with your online presence on social media will keep you top of mind. Like I know like the 5 to 7 realtors that I follow, like the ones that I remember are the ones that are posting obviously regularly. But also along the lines of like a newsletter, I've thought a lot about this. You could create like a series that's like daily market forecast or weekly stats or neighborhood guides. Something that is helpful that you could have delivered straight to their inbox that they could subscribe to that's outside of social media. You could create like a segment of subscribers just for that, and then use Pinterest and Facebook ads to capture the emails. But getting into their inbox, I would say it is into the future, like eventually going to be more valuable than like followers on social media, because you're talking directly to them instead of just posting something hoping that they log on at that time and it ends up on their feed and then they see it. So I love newsletters.
Yes, I could not agree more. And if you guys are already sending newsletters, or maybe you're thinking about sending newsletters, like really put yourself in like the mind of your client, right? Like what are the things that they'd want to know? Like what would they open up the newsletter and be like genuinely interested in reading it? And a lot of that is just like lifestyle stuff, you guys, like cool hikes that you went on that like you suggest that they go and do, or like cool restaurants that you checked out, like things that they would be like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like I've never been there. I've never thought about that before. That they can actually like look forward to the next one. You know what I mean? So it's like if you're sending them every single month and they have this cool content in it, it's not super real estate related. Like they know, maybe you have like a little market update section, but the rest of it is more personal, like how they can, enjoy their life more in Arizona or whatever it is. And so that way they look forward to the next newsletter that's coming, because they're like, oh, like, so-and-so sends me events every single month that come up. So I definitely want to open the next one, sort of thing. So thanks, guys. Rachel, what would you say would be a good best practice to stay top of mind for like repeat or referral business?
Yeah, I think the email side is really important. Because we are more digital now. Like remembering the anniversaries and everything, I love that too. I think that's also really important, but email is a great way to kind of do it more in like a bulk sense, providing that information. And then also there's a lot more coming out right now around like sending text messages. So I know I get a bunch of like promotional text messages that I intentionally sign up for because I find them useful and I like them. So sending out, like a quick tidbit for a specific neighborhood, potentially like, hey, a restaurant just opened up near you. Like I heard it's really cool. You should check it out. Something like that could be really cool, as that's becoming kind of more of a normal thing, and it doesn't feel as invasive as maybe people used to feel. Plus, I mean, these are people you help them buy their house. I don't think that they would mind. But I just think providing ongoing information is the way to go, because you just want to, like you said, stay top of mind, and that's when that referral will come into place. You never know when one of their friends is going to be buying a house and asking them, hey, who is your real estate agent? You want them to immediately remember their name, like your name, and say like, oh, they're great. They send me all of this cool information all the time. Anything you can do to have that, positive reminder in their mind is really important.
Yes, I love it. And guys, just remember, like, whenever you're doing this stuff, like, just be as authentic as possible. Like, be you. Don't like try and be like salesy. You know what I mean? Because everyone's getting emails, everyone's getting texts, everyone's getting information thrown at them. So you want yours to be you and personal, so it actually resonates with them and they don't feel like they're being like sold to. You know what I mean? Cool. Thank you, Rachel. Appreciate that. Mitchell, Peyton, do you guys have anything to add as far as staying top of mind for like repeat business?
It's Mitchell. Okay. I know Mitchell's Wi-Fi is struggling. Okay. So what I was actually going to say, it kind of goes along with, I think, what we said earlier. When you have a consistent posting pattern on your social media and you're ensuring that you have a cohesive feed, what sets you apart is that you're ensuring that your Instagram presence is consistent, it's cohesive, and it keeps you top of mind. So that's why it's so important to have a style of photography or a style of videography or a style of graphic design or a preset. I know we've discussed that, which is basically just a filter, but having it designated to your entire feed, it's pleasing to the eye and it always keeps you fresh of mind to someone when you are having, you know, a consistent 3 times a post a week, 5 posts a week, whatever. It's always fresh in their mind.
Yes, thanks guys. And just to add to that, and stories is a great way to do that. Like everyone that's on Instagram, on Facebook, like they're digesting stories like nobody's business. And I can tell you, I spend most of my time on stories. So I'm sure the rest of the population is the same way. Like they're just digesting stories. So if you want to be top of mind, like definitely be posting to stories all the time, because the first thing people do when they open up Instagram is start hitting those story icons at the top, and they'll always see you. Yes, thanks guys. Okay, so next question is for Rachel. So this is again in regards to paid social media ads or paid advertising on digital platforms online. Rachel, what would you say is the #1 most important thing to consider when running ads on social media?
Yeah, I would say it's your audience. So understanding who you're trying to target and how you're going to engage them. If you don't know who you want to reach, then you're going to end up just putting ads everywhere, and you might be speaking to the wrong people, or not engaging them, or they just bought a house, things like that. So just making sure you understand who you want to reach, whether that's first-time home buyers, for example, then you would want to talk about, you know, first-time home buyers in your ads and education around that specifically. Tiana, you touched on this. I know that you have done some work around that with some of the ads that you've run, and it just always performs better. The more personal you can be to the audience, the better. So that is definitely the most important thing. I would say something that goes hand in hand with that is knowing what your brand is. And I'm sure Jocelyn and Logan can definitely attest to this as well. And they've already touched on it a little bit. It's important to maintain that consistent brand across your organic posts and your ads. That way, anytime someone finds you, it clicks and you build that brand recognition.
Yes, exactly. Defining your audience is huge, you guys. You don't want to be paying money. You don't want to be paying Facebook to run ads to be delivered to the wrong people. So you just have to make sure that you're crystal clear on who you want to go after, and then you either, well, actually both. You target them through, you know, the specific demographics that Facebook lets you, you know, put in, and then you also tailor whatever message that you're putting out there specifically to them, so that when they're seeing it come up in their feed, they're like, oh, like what's that? And that way you don't have, you know, like people scrolling through it because it doesn't either relate to them, or, you know, that's not the like particular audience that you're trying to get. So important. Thank you, Rach. Joss, Logan, this one is for you. What do you guys say are some tools that you recommend using to stay consistent with their personal brand?
So my #1, I say it all the time, but I'll say it again. Canva is what I always recommend to people, especially that don't have like a graphic design background. There are so many templates, and now you can export as like a GIF. Like you can do like more motion, which like video content is getting just way, you know, we're there, y'all. We need more video content. They have like animated elements. They can really help kind of bring your posts to life. So Canva for sure. You can also save the hex codes of your color palettes to a brand kit, as well as the fonts you choose. So they're always right there anytime you're kind of creating a post, using a template. It's literally so easy to just like change a couple of things, put in your information. So Canva, always and forever, is my #1.
Yes.
And I would also just say like potentially getting like a feed planning app.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there's Planoly, Later Media. Those are really good feed planning apps for sure.
Guys, I could not agree more with you on that. And as far as keeping a consistent brand goes, like once you have your personal brand created, and like Joss and Logan said, like it doesn't have to be logo, just like colors, font, your whole vibe you're putting out there, you can actually upload the colors that you want to run with in Canva, so they're always there. And then all the posts you create like in Canva, and they have a ton of templates, just utilize those colors and utilize those fonts so that everything looks cohesive when it's posted to your feed. And then of course you can use content planning apps like Plan, and there's so many to actually see what your feed looks like visually before you go and post things out. So thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Mitchell and Peyton, let's actually roll off of that. What is your guys' favorite social media tool and why? And it might be the same thing. I have a feeling, but let us know.
I was gonna say when Jocelyn said Canva, I clapped. Canva is absolutely my favorite social media tool as well. We actually did like a whole presentation just on social media tools, so we can kind of offer some different ones as well. But yeah, I cannot emphasize enough how much we use Canva. Like everything else has some kind of substitute that you can sub in, but as far as like graphic design tools for dummies goes, like I praise Canva.
I third that after all of them. Canva is definitely the go-to. It simplifies your life so much and your entire brand.
I fourth it. I use it for ads all the time. And like Jocelyn mentioned, the animations are great for ads because then they're kind of like videos, and Facebook favors video. So you get sort of a double whammy there.
Yes, you guys, and I fifth it. I love Canva. I've been using Canva for so long, and I know like some of you have probably already like you've used Canva, you've dabbled in it a little bit, or maybe you like don't really know how to use it. Like we are here for you. Like we've all been using this tool for forever, and so if you need help, please let us know. And especially me, like I will sit down with you one-on-one and show you how to use it. I've been doing tutorials on it too. So if you have like something specific in mind you want to create, like, okay, I have an open house coming up this weekend, I want to create a social media post for that. How do I do it? Like, I got you. So if you're not using Canva, like start using Canva ASAP. It's free to use, or you could do the paid version, which is super inexpensive, and you get like all the features, which is even better. So yes, could not agree more on Canva, you guys. It's an amazing tool. All right, so question for all of you. And then after this one, I'll open it up, see if you guys have any just generic questions. And if not, we'll just continue going on. So I'm going to start with Joss and Logan on this one. So we've been talking digital marketing, right? Ads, social media, design, photography, like it's all digital. So in terms of traditional marketing, right? So is there anything that realtors should be thinking about in that department, or should they just be, investing their time and money in digital?
So I honestly believe that now more than any other time, especially since last March, it's the time to be really forward thinking with marketing and really thinking about online presence, even thinking about digital business cards, and because you might not be going to a lot of networking events, you know what I'm saying? So you could be making in Canva like a digital business card that you could airdrop people that you meet. Just thinking about how you can take your brand to the next level. Traditional marketing also tends to be significantly more expensive. Like print is so expensive, and I don't know that like your face on like a bus would be as effective as, like targeted ads, right? So, and making it just easier for people to find you and find what they need. Everyone's online and will be for forever.
For the foreseeable future, for sure. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you. Rach, do you have any expert opinion on that? Any traditional marketing techniques they should consider?
Yeah, so traditional marketing can be a lot more expensive, like Jocelyn mentioned. So that is definitely something to consider. But if you have the capabilities, I do think that there is still a small place in this world for direct mail. A lot of companies have come out and made direct mail a lot better. And if you partner that with a digital campaign, then it can actually perform fairly well. So one kind of simple example of that is if you send out direct mail like postcards to maybe like an apartment complex or a large area of apartment complexes, you can set up a digital campaign that geofences that same area. So they're getting that mail, seeing whatever information you're providing them. And then when they go on Facebook, they're seeing your information again. So it's a lot more about awareness in that sense. And that's why also it can feel very expensive, because cost-wise, it literally is more expensive, and it's also much less likely to drive direct leads. But if it's something that you have the capabilities to do, then I think that could be a fun avenue to test.
Yes, I agree there. And in the real estate world, as you all know, direct mail or farming is like a thing. And of course, like I totally agree. Like if you can couple it with a digital campaign, like you have a lot more chance to be like successful in it. But you do have to just realize that it's more of like awareness. You're not going to get direct leads, or it's just going to take a long time to convert them and get that ROI. So yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Direct mail isn't dead, but if you can do a digital campaign at the same time to those same people, then you have definitely a better chance at converting. So cool, thank you. Mitchell, Peyton, do you have anything to add to that before we move on?
Nothing crazy, but you know, like word of mouth will always be relevant, but even that's kind of moved online. Like business cards will always be effective to an extent, but again, even that's moved online. Um, yeah, so traditional marketing is not dead by any means, but it's all migrating online for sure.
Right. And I think when you blend it, like you need to be aware of the scope of digital marketing in 2021 and understand that you're going to be able to increase your audience reach through digital marketing. But there is a personalization factor to direct mail, to a handwritten letter, to saying thank you, to, you know, word of mouth that is so special, and it really is like irreplaceable. So I definitely recommend just blending the two and to set yourself apart.
Yes, thank you guys. That is perfect. So I think the gist of that is focus more of your time and efforts on digital marketing because you can reach more people faster and easier. But if you have, you know, maybe the budget or the time to, you know, maybe do 1 or 2 farming campaigns or direct mail campaigns or just traditional, then like by all means go for it. Cool guys. So gonna take a quick just hiatus. Does anybody have just any generic questions that they want to ask our presenters right now? If you do, drop them in the chat or just literally unmute yourself and ask. And then if not, we can just continue with the other stuff I have. So please feel free if you have any.
I had a couple questions. First, I appreciate all of this knowledge. So, often to post JD and your Facebook.
Hey Melanie, you're cutting out. Is she cutting out to you guys too? Can you drop that one in the chat for us? Just because you're getting kind of glitchy. Okay. Thank you. We'll wait for her to do that. And then does anybody else have anything? Andrew, you have anything?
I have a quick question. This is a dumb question, but just signing up on Canva, do you typically sign up with Google, with Facebook, or with email? Like those things always pop up. I'm curious to know what the experts in marketing do.
I always sign up with my Google account so I don't have to remember my password, because I will not remember my password, and then everything's just connected.
I second that. I always use Google instead of like Facebook or anything, because if there ever came a day when I didn't want Facebook anymore, I would at least have my Google email.
All right. I either do Facebook or Google. That's just me. Hope that is helpful. Okay, Melanie, I got your question. So do you mix and match Facebook and Instagram content? So Mitchell and Peyton, do you guys want to take this one?
Sure. There is definitely something to be said about like cross promoting via different social media platforms. Like if you have a property listing, definitely share that across all of your social media platforms.
Hey Melanie, do you mind just muting yourself?
Is it me?
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, cross promoting across your different social platforms is definitely something we recommend. Oftentimes, we'll suggest that if you're putting something out on one platform, you put it out on others. There is content that performs better on different platforms that we recommend keeping to those specific platforms.
Mhm.
Like longer form copy typically does better on LinkedIn and Facebook, whereas Instagram favors like video and like shorter form copy, and like hashtag placement is obviously has different effects across different channels as well. Yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents there.
Payne, do you have anything to add to that at all?
That was perfect.
Perfect. Joss, Logan, Rachel, do you guys have any 2 cents on that?
I definitely love recycling content when possible. But again, you kind of sometimes have to take, for example, if you kind of are shooting video for TikTok, maybe your TikTok audience wants something different than your Instagram audience for like a reel or an IGTV. So you kind of have to re-chop it and potentially reproduce it for another post. But I love recycling content.
And
Yeah, I agree. Another thing to just consider is the different platforms. Their specs can be a little bit different. So like the Facebook feed, they're moving a lot more towards the classic like square like Instagram. But if you're posting something like on LinkedIn as well, they tend to, have more of like the horizontal. Again, they're also moving more towards the square, so this is becoming slightly less relevant as I talk about it basically, but that's just something to keep in mind because you don't want the ugly black lines on the sides of your pictures. So make sure that you're looking at the different sizes that your imagery or your videos should be for each platform and adjusting as needed.
yes, and to add on to that, Canva has templates for this stuff, you guys. So Instagram versus Facebook versus LinkedIn, they all have different like dimensions of pictures. So if you want it to fit like exactly in your feed with no extra space, Canva has those built in already. And Melanie, just to add to what they were saying, so for me, I post so I have my personal profile, my business profile, right? And so I post the same content on my business profile across Instagram and Facebook, and then I keep my personal stuff personal. So if like say like we're friends on Facebook, right? So like my personal information, my personal page will have like different information on it than my business page, and that I do that on purpose so that if they are friends with me on Facebook, they're getting content that's basically exclusive to my personal page versus if they follow my business page, they're getting content exclusive to that page as well. So I hope that answers your question.
Also, Melanie had another question. Is Snapchat something we should focus on? I have personally never recommended Snapchat as a strategy. Maybe I just don't know enough about Snapchat, but I don't necessarily think that it's like the future of digital marketing,
A converting platform.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yes, that is definitely more of like a personal social media platform. So you would have to like add random ass people on Snapchat to be able to like market to them, and like sometimes you wouldn't necessarily want to do that on that platform. And also you would just have a lot less reach there for sure.
Yeah, I'll also tack on to the end there. Snapchat usership is down 3% year over year, so it's a declining social platform. So I would kind of steer away from it personally as well.
Yes, thank you. Good question, Melanie. So Javi asked, for video content on Instagram, is it better for us to use IGTV or Reels? And what are each used for? How do you decide which content to use for each tool? So Mitchell, Peyton, I'll throw this one at you first. And then if you guys want to chime in on that, please do.
Okay.
Definitely.
Sorry. You can go ahead, Mitchell. Do you want to start?
All right, cool. Yeah, I'll take it first off. So IGTV versus Reels. IGTV is longer form content, shows up in your primary feed, whereas Reels are shorter video content and shows up on a separate page on a separate tab on your personal page. Additionally, Reels have a higher chance at ranking on the Explore page, whereas IGTV is distributed directly to your followers' feeds. So they kind of serve two different purposes. Like if you're trying to expand your reach, I recommend Reels. If you're trying to engage with your current platform, and I would say IGTV. As far as like different content goes, for IGTV, I would recommend like doing things more like home tours or giving like tips or things like that. But yeah, they're kind of used for two different purposes.
I was just going to add on to that. So IGTV, I think they allow you to go up to like 10 minutes long. So you could have like a full on like educational video going down. And that's what we do for Jason's profile. The loan officer that I, work with here, he will just go on there and talk for like 5 minutes about a certain thing, like VA loans or conventional loans or down payment assistance. And so that will always go to IGTV. Whereas Reels, think of Reels as like TikTok. You got like, what is it, a minute or 30 seconds to like show some like fun sort of content, and people are getting really creative and I guess like cutesy with it too, and they're just sort of fun to do. So I know Reels is, I would consider that a little bit more like, I don't know, fun, and then IGTV is more like educational, or like if you really got some time to invest, for sure.
So I would say Reels are very quick to the point, whereas IGTVs are kind of like, they're like a little television mini series where you can kind of go on for a rant. Reels are favored by the Instagram algorithm. So when you post a reel and it starts trending, it's going to be pushed to the top of the Explore page, even for users that do not follow you. That being said, don't just post reels, post other things, but take advantage of that resource just because it could really benefit your following. And then when it comes to like any types of videos to post, again, like really highlight, show your face, that if there's a personalization factor and it's almost like a face-to-face type of mindset, treat it that way. It makes it more personal, it builds the trust, and it shows your personality. So don't be afraid to do that. And then home walkthroughs, those are really big. So if you have a new home that you're selling or buying or whatever it is, allow potential buyers to get a feel for a home outside of the standard staged photos, and do this on your story as well as your feed. This is really important in COVID times, as it may take some people to like some time to feel more comfortable seeing a virtual tour. So, just kind of keep doing it, repetition. It'll make them more comfortable with it. And then just videos showing off the neighborhood, showcasing local color. And then it allows also, when you do videos, it allows you to tag other businesses for the potential of reshares and follows that can expand your post reach. So that's really important. So whenever you're posting any video or picture, tag local businesses, tag this or that, and that has the potential of them sharing it on your story and everything. And then that could lead to more follows and potential clients.
Joss, Logan, Rachel, do you guys have anything else to add to that?
That's literally everything I was gonna say. So good job, everyone. That's it.
And have fun with it, honestly. Like, I know like a lot of the realtors I talk to are like super nervous about doing video or reels, and they know they need to do it. Like, guys, let's be real, 21st century, like put yourself out there, and like you might feel stupid doing it, but the more that you do it, the more comfortable you'll get. And honestly, people like to see that that candidness, so don't be afraid to try it. I did like my first reel a month ago, and I was like, wow, it's actually kind of fun, and now I do them all the time. So yeah, definitely just jump right in, and of course, if you ever need help, we are here. All right, so anybody else? Let's see, we got a question from Ron. Oh, Javi, I hope I answered your question. Okay, cool. So Ron said, I've tried Facebook Live, but the feed is not the best quality. What do you suggest to improve that? Does anybody have 2 cents on that? I have not personally gone live yet. It's on my to-do list, but so I can't provide too much feedback there. Do any of you guys have any suggestions or anything like that for that one?
I think this one's kind of hard because it really just depends on your connection. I know that I've seen some realtors doing Facebook Live to like try to show a property, and that can have like more of an inconsistent connection. So if you're gonna do lives, maybe stick to more like answering questions, like do a live Q&A. That could be really good. And then for video walkthroughs, film those and post them instead of trying to do them live. That way too, you can walk through and make sure it's smooth and you're actually showing the whole house in like an order that makes sense. I don't know if that's what you were trying, but I know I see a lot of that. But that one is definitely hard because it's all about your connection, and Wi-Fi can be spotty, and that's just the world we live in.
Yes, nail on the head there for sure. I know my phone, I have an older iPhone, so it's not like I definitely don't have like the greatest quality of like pictures or video. So I'm sure that may have a little bit of an effect. And then like honestly, like lighting too can really like F things up. So while Jocelyn's like adjusting her blinds. So yeah, that can also affect that as well. So Rachel,
I would definitely say don't be discouraged though with that.
yeah.
Don't stop for that reason. Facebook Live videos produce 6 times as many interactions as a traditional posted video, and they get 10 times more comments typically than regular videos. So don't stop just because you're discouraged with the quality. It could be the lighting, it could be whatever, all those things. So there still is a huge impact made by live video on both Facebook, Instagram, and all those things.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And I just wanted to like clarify off of that. The reason I say to maybe avoid walkthroughs is because you have less control over the quality, not to avoid lives, but focus on things where it's not so important that they see the detail of what you're looking at. That way you can continue doing them because they can be really beneficial.
Yes, 100%. And that just got me thinking about stuff. So if you guys plan on doing live videos, I think one of the most important things is to promote that. So like if you want to go live, plan it for like 3 weeks from now, right? And then start promoting it. Be like, hey guys, I'm going to go live. I'm doing this, this, and this. Like, please join me on this day at this time. And like really push that, because a lot of times like people will just like randomly go live and then they'll have maybe 1 or 2 people watching. And so if you plan it in advance and tell people a specific date and time, then they know to get on at that specific time and watch whatever live you're doing. So I would highly, highly suggest that if you want to go live. Of course, like it's always cool to like spontaneously come on and like maybe you're just like talking about what you're doing for the day, because I've seen a lot of realtors do that as well. Or maybe they're just like about to walk into like a walkthrough or whatever it is, and they do a quick live. But if you really want to be impactful with your lives, like plan for it and promote well ahead so that people are like, oh dang, like I want to check out Melanie's live next week. So that way you have an audience there too. All right, so Debbie asked, what are real estate rules on doing a live video on someone else's listing or when on tour? I'm not sure if any of our experts would know the answer to that question. I personally don't, but I will find out that answer for you and then get back to you, because I feel like that's important to know. Because I know like if you're posting like pictures of a listing. Oh, Bree actually said, Bree, do you mind going off of mute real quick and just potentially addressing that for us?
Yeah, so the rules of the game in my experience have been just get written permission from the listing agent, and that will at least give you that peace of mind to go ahead and do different videos and stuff like that. I do know of plenty of agents who do videos in properties that aren't there without permission, and kind of the take that I've always said to it, it's free promotion for those listing agents as well. So I can't see it being super irritable unless they have a very, very private client, which I haven't in the last 10 years ever had a complaint of doing it in someone else's listing without written permission. If you're going to do a full production though, definitely get written permission.
So, but do we have to identify them like at the beginning of the video and say this is Bree's listing that I'm walking through and she's with XYZ Realty?
Nope. One of the things that I do like to mention in the video, I like to mention the brokerage, because you have to remember all listings are held at the brokerage level. So you can say, hey, this beautiful property at the brokery at 123 Main Street, and that would suffice for that type of communication. I think we lost her.
We may have, but thank you so much for iterating on that, because that's something I didn't know, and I think that's important for everybody to know as well. So thank you, Bree, appreciate that. All All right, guys, it doesn't look like we have any more questions in the chat. We have about 4 minutes left, so I'm gonna just try and maybe do a few more with you guys. And then if you have any other questions, please just drop them in the chat. So Rachel, I wanted to ask you a question before we are done. Are there any other ways that realtors can advertise digitally that could like give them more leads that isn't Facebook or like Instagram? Like, is there any other avenues they can potentially consider to run advertisements online?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of those is LinkedIn. So LinkedIn's ad platform in a lot of ways is really similar to Facebook. They have a lot of the same tools. So that's a really great way to kind of easily try out new channels. You can mimic a lot of what you're doing in Facebook on LinkedIn. I'm less familiar with the rules around real estate advertising on LinkedIn, but from my understanding, they don't have the same restrictions as Facebook. They're a little bit more lax. So you could even get away with some more specific targeting that Facebook doesn't allow. And then also YouTube. So YouTube ads are a great way to get your information out there, and they're also actually very, very easy to set up. It's all done through Google Ads. So it's there's a lot of different targeting capabilities. So you can target like channels, like specific channels, if there's like really big channels out there that you want to get in front of, specific videos. You can do topic based, and then you can also do audience based targeting. So Google has like in-market audiences, so you can look for people who are in the process of buying a home and things like that. And YouTube ads are great if you have video content to promote. They tend to work best if it's, you know, like attention grabbing. So provide information early on and upfront, and make sure that it's very, very branded, and because you're trying to convince them to continue watching instead of watching the video that they're there for. But that can be a great way to drive more traffic as well.
Sweet, thank you. That is awesome. I've never advertised on YouTube, so definitely on the list to try out, because YouTube is just, it keeps getting bigger and better. So thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna end this class today with a question for all of you guys, and I think I may know the answer to this already, but for realtors right now, what is the best way to market themselves and why? Let's start with Joss and Logan.
So I would say it depends on who it is. It depends on who your audience is. I wouldn't say that there is any one best way. And I definitely wouldn't recommend anybody put all their eggs in one basket. I think that like a really solid plan, a strategy that kind of covers all of your bases, like all of your platforms, depending on, again, who your audience is. But I do, just because the time is almost up, I just do also want to throw out 2 little extra tidbits. Follow social media managers on Instagram, because their whole strategy is to provide the latest insightful tips and like content strategies. So literally their whole strategy is to provide you great information about what you can be doing to stay with the times. Another one is Clubhouse. I don't know if anyone's heard of it. It is the new social media. It is audio only. You could host. That could just be a really cool thing for realtors, like hosting rooms, answering questions with potential buyers. Another great way to connect people. It's invite only, but you can go on there and get on the wait list and at least reserve the username that you want. So I would recommend everyone just go do that. Reserve the name that you want before you like know whether or not you want to use it, just in case. But yes, just no one way, but it really does depend on the audience.
Newsletters.
Logan, yeah, we love newsletters too.
I love it. Rach, what is your thought?
Yeah, I agree. There isn't one channel that's going to work across the board for everybody. So just figuring out what works best for you and being present, providing information, making yourself available. If you're getting leads, make sure that you're following up with them right away. The faster you follow up, the better. And provide as much information as possible. It can feel like that's what everyone else is doing, but even resharing information that someone else shared, or opening up your DMs to answer questions, things like that can make the difference. So really just making yourself present across any of the channels that you choose.
Perfect. Last but not least, Mitchell and Peyton, what do you guys have to say about this one?
I would definitely say that don't, although like real estate is not its typical in person as it usually is, virtual connections, really prioritize that right now. Engage with people virtually as much as you possibly can. Never underestimate the power of engagement, whether it be comments and just staying connected that way, checking up on people, seeing how their family's doing, you know, all those different things. While social media can be really tricky to people, like posting and figuring out when to post and what to post and all this, don't overthink it. Just talk to people, be real, be you, be authentic. And that's really, and whether it's in person or it's over the phone or it's in DMs or whatever it is, just be you, and that should be enough, and that will be perfect.
Yeah, I'll just follow in the echo chamber. There's no one right answer to that question. Like a good marketing strategy encompasses everything. Like it's email, it's organic, social, it's paid, it's all of the things. So don't be hesitant to try different platforms to diversify your marketing strategy.
Mic drop. Guys, thank you so much. This was awesome. I will be sending a follow-up email to everybody that will have the link to the recording of this so you can watch it as many times as you want. I will drop in all the contact info of our presenters, and of course, like, you can reach out to them if you'd like to work with them on anything. And of course, I'm here as well, you guys. I work out of the NOAA Scottsdale branch, and you know, I really love meeting new realtors and helping them grow their business through different marketing techniques. So I will be reaching out shortly. And guys, thank you for joining us for our 6th one. Like I mentioned before, this is the wrap up of the first 6-month series, but we will be continuing it on. So please look out for those invites, and have a great rest of your day. We'll see you later. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you.